The quantum relay array hummed its death song through station Kepler 442b's corridors, a discordant symphony of failing circuits and dying dreams. Echo Patel pressed her ear against the maintenance panel, listening to the machine's mechanical heartbeat grow weaker by the hour. 23 years of operating deep space communication networks had taught her to read the language of dying technology, like others read facial expressions. Control. This is Drone Bay 7. She spoke into her headset, watching her breath mist in the rapidly cooling air. Main relay is at 18% efficiency and dropping. We're looking at complete communication blackout in approximately 14 hours. The response crackled through layers of interference. Copy. Echo. Engineering estimates repairs at 48 hours minimum. Can you extend the timeline? Echo stared at the nest of crystalline conduits and quantum processors that made up humanity's most advanced communication hub. They're only linked to Earth across 12,000 light-years of empty space. The station housed 47 researchers studying the unique properties of the Kepler system's binary pulsars. Their work crucial to developing faster-than-light communication. Now, with the Zephyrian War escalating across 3-star systems, Earth needed every advantage. Negative control. The quantum cascade is accelerating. We're past the point of standard repairs. She didn't mention that the replacement parts were currently floating in space debris, casualties of yesterday's unprovoked attack by the hegemony's automated defense grid. 3 supply ships destroyed in minutes by technology that made human engineering look like stone knives and bearskins. Echo pulled herself through the zero-gravity maintenance shaft, her tool belt jangling against the metal walls. The station's artificial gravity had failed in sections, another casualty of the systematic assault on human infrastructure. The hegemony didn't want to destroy humanity. They wanted to isolate them, to cut Earth off from its growing network of colonies and research stations. The drone bay stretched out before her, a cathedral of metal and glass, housing her fleet of maintenance units. Each drone was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed for the delicate work of maintaining quantum communication arrays in the hostile environment of space. Echo had spent years modifying them, adding improvements the original designers never imagined. "All right, beauties," she whispered to the machines, running her hand along the nearest unit's sensor array. "Time to earn your keep." The lead drone, designation Prometheus, had been her pet project for 3 years. Where standard maintenance units relied on pre-programmed routines, Prometheus utilized a learning algorithm Echo had borrowed from Earth's latest AI research. Technically illegal modifications, but she'd learned long ago that survival in deep space required bending rules. Her fingers danced across the control interface, uploading diagnostic routines and repair protocols. The quantum relay wasn't just failing, it was dying from a form of technological cancer that shouldn't have been possible. The hegemony's attack had introduced some kind of cascade virus into their systems, designed to slowly corrupt quantum processors until complete failure. Prometheus. Initiate deep scan of the primary relay core. Map every quantum pathway and isolate all cascade failures. The drone hummed to life, its sensor array unfolding like metallic flower petals. Through her neural interface, Echo felt the machine's consciousness touch hers, not truly alive, but something close enough to matter. She'd programmed it to think like she did, to find solutions in chaos and opportunity in destruction. What Prometheus found made her stomach clench. The cascade virus hadn't just corrupted their system, it had been learning, evolving, rewriting itself to counter every repair attempt. This wasn't random sabotage. It was intelligent warfare, designed specifically to cripple human communication networks. The hegemony had studied human technology and created a digital plague that attacked the one thing humans couldn't survive without: connection. Son of a bitch, she breathed, watching the cascade patterns spread through her diagnostics like digital cancer. Every attempt to repair one section only accelerated failure in others. It was elegant, ruthless, and absolutely devastating. Through a bay's observation window, the binary pulsars of Kepler 442 painted the darkness in sheets of azure and violet radiation, beautiful and deadly, like everything else in this corner of space. The research station hung in the gravitational sweet spot between the two neutron stars, harvesting their unique quantum signatures to boost Earth's communication range. If the relay failed, 47 researchers would be stranded with no way to call for help. Worse, Earth would lose its primary deep space communication hub, just as the war entered its most critical phase. 3 other human colonies had already gone silent in the past month. Their fates unknown. Echo's hands moved across her controls with practiced efficiency, launching a full squadron of maintenance drones toward the relay array. Standard protocols demanded she wait for replacement parts and follow approved repair procedures. Standard protocols were written by people who'd never been 12,000 light years from home, with hostile aliens trying to kill them. Control, this is Echo, beginning. Emergency repairs with available resources. Time estimate ... uncertain. Echo, you're not authorized for major modifications. Wait for the supply ship. She switched off her comm unit and smiled grimly. The supply ship was space dust, vaporized along with their backup quantum cores and emergency rations. Authorization was a luxury they could no longer afford. Prometheus transmitted its findings directly to her neural implant. The Cascade virus had infected every quantum processor in the relay array, but it followed predictable patterns. Like all artificial constructs, it had weaknesses. The Hegemony's programmers were brilliant, but rigid, creating elegant solutions that couldn't adapt to chaotic variables. Variables like human creativity and complete disregard for manufacturer specifications. Prometheus, overlay the cascade pattern with our power distribution network. Look for interference points. The analysis revealed something beautiful. The virus was actually fighting itself in 3 specific locations, where human modifications clashed with original design parameters. Echo's illegal improvements had created quantum static that confused the alien code. Small pockets of stability in an ocean of corruption. She could work with static. Static was just unorganized information, waiting for the right interpreter. Change of plans, beauties, she announced to her drones. We're not fixing this thing. We're making it better. The next 6 hours blurred together in a symphony of welding torches and quantum mathematics. Echo's drones swarmed over the relay array like mechanical bees, following her commands to strip away corrupted components and rebuild the network's architecture from scratch. She wasn't repairing the system. She was performing technological surgery, cutting away the infected parts and grafting in new solutions, created from spare parts and sheer desperation, where the Cascade virus expected. Standardized quantum processors. She installed jury-rigged hybrids built from mining equipment and navigation computers. Where it looked for predictable power flows, she created chaotic feedback loops that turned the alien code's own intelligence against itself. It was insane, unprecedented, and absolutely against every safety protocol ever written. It was also working. Echo, what the hell are you doing out there? Control's voice crackled through the static as her modifications began affecting the station's power grid. We're reading quantum fluctuations off the scale. I'm saving all our asses, she replied, not looking up from her work. Prometheus had just discovered something incredible. The Cascade virus wasn't just destroying their communication system. It was trying to phone home. Hidden in its destructive code was a transmission protocol designed to send information back to Hegemony space. Prometheus, can you reverse engineer that transmission protocol? The drone's response filled her mind with possibility. Not only could they reverse engineer it, they could subvert it, turn the Hegemony's own weapon against them. Echo's smile was sharp as a knife's edge. The aliens thought they understood human technology, thought they could predict how humans would respond to their elegant digital warfare. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Cascade virus fought back like a living thing, spawning new corruption patterns faster than Echo's modifications could contain them. Through her neural interface, she felt Prometheus struggling against digital antibodies designed to protect the alien code from exactly what she was attempting. Stubborn bastard, she muttered, rerouting power through a mining laser's focusing array to bypass another layer of viral protection. The improvised quantum pathway crackled with unstable energy, but it held. Human engineering might be primitive compared to Hegemony technology, but it was also unpredictable enough to confuse their security protocols. The station shuddered around her as power fluctuations cascaded through secondary systems. Emergency lighting cast everything in hellish red and the air recyclers groaned under the strain of her modifications. She was essentially performing brain surgery on the station's nervous system while it was still awake. Echo, you need to stop this immediately. Dr. Sarah Chun's voice carried the authority of station commander, but Echo could hear the fear underneath. You're destabilizing our entire infrastructure. Infrastructure's already dead, Doc, Echo replied, watching her displays track 17 separate system failures. We just haven't admitted it yet. Through Prometheus's sensors, she could see the virus's true structure. Now, not just random destruction, but a carefully orchestrated symphony of digital death. The hegemony had studied human technology for years, mapping every vulnerability and creating targeted attacks for each system type. They knew exactly how to cripple Earth's growing interstellar network, but they'd made one crucial mistake. They assumed humans would follow their own engineering specifications. Echo's modifications were creating quantum noise that confused the virus's targeting systems. Where it expected clean, predictable data flows, it found chaos. Human ingenuity expressed as electronic warfare, turning order into creative destruction. Prometheus, map all virus communication attempts. I want to know every time this thing tries to phone home. The analysis revealed the virus's greatest vulnerability. It was designed to be too smart. Every few minutes, it attempted to contact hegemony command nodes for updated instructions, creating brief windows where its communication protocols were exposed. During those microsecond intervals, the alien code lowered its defenses to transmit. Status reports .echo could work with microseconds. She'd spent 23 years making impossible repairs in impossible timeframes. Time was just another resource to be exploited. New plan, she announced to her drone swarm. We're going fishing. The next phase required precision that bordered on the supernatural. Echo had to time her attack perfectly, hitting the virus during its communication windows while avoiding the security sweeps that followed. It was like trying to thread a needle while riding a roller coaster in a thunderstorm. Her fingers flew across multiple control interfaces simultaneously, directing 8 drones in a coordinated ballet of technological terrorism. Each drone carried specialized equipment jury-rigged from station components, mining lasers recalibrated as quantum scalpels, gravity generators repurposed as data traps. Even the coffee machine's heating element wired into a makeshift signal amplifier. Come on, you digital piece of shit, she whispered, watching the virus prepare for another communication attempt. Talk to Daddy? The moment came. Alien code opened its communication channel for 0.003 seconds. Just long enough to transmit infection status. In that tiny window, Echo, struck with everything she had. Prometheus dove into the viral communication stream like a digital kamikaze pilot. Its learning algorithms adapted to mimic hegemony protocols. Instead of trying to destroy the virus, she was attempting something far more ambitious. Infection in reverse. The virus's own communication became the delivery system for Echo's counterstrike. She couldn't destroy the alien code directly, but she could confuse it, corrupt its instructions, and turn its intelligence into a liability. Human chaos injected directly into hegemony order. Warning alarms screamed throughout the station as her attack triggered every safety protocol simultaneously. Power conduits overloaded, backup systems failed, and the artificial gravity stuttered between Earth normal and zero-G. Dr. Chun's voice cut through the chaos. Echo, whatever you're doing, it's tearing the station apart. Almost ... it. Echo gritted her teeth as Prometheus fought through layers of alien security. The virus was trying to purge her drone from its system, but she'd programmed it to be as stubborn as she was. Come on, beautiful. Just a little further. Then something beautiful happened. The virus made a mistake, in its attempt to eliminate Prometheus. The alien code lowered its defenses just long enough for Echo's real attack to slip through. Hidden in her drone's apparent destruction was a package of pure human stubbornness. Self-replicating routine designed to ask the one question no hegemony programmer had anticipated. But what if we do it differently? The virus tried to process this query and found itself trapped in an infinite loop. Its perfect logic couldn't compute the concept of deliberately choosing suboptimal solutions. The idea of intentionally making things more complicated, more inefficient, more human was beyond its comprehension. Echo watched with savage satisfaction as her philosophical virus spread through the alien code like digital cancer. Every time the original virus tried to execute a command, her modification asked, "But what if we don't?" The resulting cascade failure was a thing of beauty alien perfection, eating itself alive on a diet of human perversity. Prometheus status report. Her drone's consciousness brushed against hers, carrying good news wrapped in quantum mathematics. The virus was dying, but more importantly, she'd successfully reverse-engineered its communication protocols. Not only could she prevent future infections, she could track the signals back to their source, and she could send signals of her own. "Doc, I need you to patch me through to Earth Command immediately." "Echo, that's impossible. The relay array is relay array is better than it's ever been." Echo's grin was visible, even through her environmental suit's faceplate. "Trust me on this one." Through her neural interface, she felt the modified relay array coming online. Her jury-rigged quantum processors hummed with chaotic efficiency, turning the station's communication system into something the original designers never imagined possible. Instead of clean, predictable transmissions, her modifications created what she privately called quantum jazz, seemingly random patterns that somehow conveyed more information than traditional methods. The first test transmission reached Earth in 3.2 seconds, a new record for long-range quantum communication. More importantly, it carried something unprecedented, a complete analysis of hegemony digital warfare techniques and the means to counter them. "Station Kepler 442b to Earth Command," Echo announced, her voice carrying across 12,000 light-years with perfect clarity. "This is Communications Specialist Echo Patel. I have a gift for the hegemony, and I need your help to deliver it." The response came back faster than should have been possible, riding quantum currents that Echo's modifications had somehow amplified. "Echo, this is Admiral Harrison. We read you 5 by 5, and your signal is ... unique. What do you need?" "I need access to the military communication network, Admiral. All of it. Every relay, every station, every ship in the fleet." "That's completely against protocol, Specialist." "I can't authorize..." "Admiral," Echo interrupted, watching her displays show 17 hegemony ships entering the Kepler system. "In about 6 hours, those ships are going to try to wipe out this station and everyone on it. But thanks to their virus, I know exactly how their communication systems work. I can give every human ship in space the ability to intercept, decrypt, and subvert hegemony transmissions." Silence stretched across the light years, while Admiral Harrison processed the implications. "I can turn their perfect digital warfare against them, sir, but I need network access to upload the countermeasures before they arrive." "Granted," came the immediate response. "Full military network access is yours, Specialist. Do whatever you need to do." Echo's smile could have powered the station's reactor. Admiral, time to teach the hegemony what happens when you try to out-hack a human." Her fingers moved across the controls with deadly precision, uploading her digital weapon to every human communication node in known space. The virus that had been designed to destroy human networks would become the foundation for their salvation. The hegemony thought they understood information warfare. They were about to learn the difference between elegant efficiency and human spite. The military communication network stretched across human space like a vast nervous system, connecting Earth to 100 worlds through quantum entanglement and sheer stubborn engineering. Echo felt it respond to her touch as her modifications propagated through the grid. 47 major relay stations, 612 military vessels, and countless civilian installations suddenly singing in harmony. Her digital weapon spread through the network like wildfire, carrying with it the gift of understanding. Every human communication system now spoke fluent hegemony, could read their encrypted transmissions as easily as morning news feeds. More importantly, they could lie in perfect digital dialect, sending false information that the aliens would accept as truth. Network synchronization at 92% and climbing, she reported, watching her displays bloom with connection points across the galaxy. All stations reporting successful integration of countermeasures. Dr. Chun floated beside her in the zero-gravity maintenance bay, watching the impossible unfold. Echo, how is any of this possible? The relay array was completely destroyed 12 hours ago. It was never destroyed, Doc. It was just speaking a language we didn't understand. Yet, Echo's hands danced across multiple interfaces, fine-tuning the quantum harmonics that made her miracle work. The hegemony virus didn't just corrupt our systems, it upgraded them, turned our reliable but limited network into something that could match their communication protocols. The approaching enemy fleet made no attempt to hide their presence. 17 ships of crystalline beauty and terrible purpose, their hulls gleaming like polished mirrors in the light of the binary pulsars. They moved in perfect formation, a display of unity and coordination that spoke to centuries of technological refinement. They were also broadcasting constantly, their ships linked in a web of quantum communication that shared tactical data, coordinate instructions, and maintained perfect situational awareness. It was militarily brilliant and absolutely devastating for a species that faced the feast galaxy alone, Doc. Unfortunately for the hegemony, they were no longer alone. Prometheus, intercept all fleet communications. I want to know their breakfast preferences before they get within weapons range. Her lead drone had evolved during the battle against the virus, its learning algorithms now incorporating elements of alien logic with human intuition. The result was something unprecedented, an artificial intelligence that could think like both species simultaneously. The intelligence reports that flowed through Echo's neural interface painted a picture of supreme confidence bordering on arrogance. The hegemony fleet expected to find a crippled research station, its communication systems dead, and its occupants isolated. They planned to destroy the facility as a demonstration to other human colonies. Surrender or face extinction. Admiral Harrison, are you monitoring this channel? Affirmative. Specialist, we're reading everything you're sending us. The implications are ... significant. Echo's smile was sharp with anticipation. Through the network she'd created, every human military commander could now read hegemony battle plans as they were being formulated. Ships that had been hiding in deep space for months suddenly knew exactly where enemy forces were moving, what their objectives were, and when they planned to strike. Sir, I'm requesting permission to initiate Operation Chaos Theory. Explain. The hegemony fleet is coordinating their attack through constant communication updates. Their tactics rely on perfect information and synchronized responses. Echo's fingers found the controls that would turn her gift into a weapon. One want to introduce them to the concept of creative misinformation. Admiral Harrison's laugh carried across 12,000 light years with perfect clarity. Permission granted, Specialist. Show them what human creativity looks like. Echo cracked her knuckles and got to work. The first wave of false information hit the hegemony fleet like a digital tsunami through their own communication channels. Their ships began receiving reports of human reinforcements that didn't exist, weapon signatures that couldn't be real, and tactical dispositions that defied physics, all delivered in perfect hegemony protocol, authenticated with their own security codes. Impossible to distinguish from legitimate intelligence. The alien fleet's perfect coordination began to fray as ships received contradictory orders. Formation patterns shifted as commanders tried to respond to threats that existed only in Echo's imagination. Battle plans dissolved into confusion as each ship's tactical computer tried to process information that made no logical sense. Fleet 17, this is command. Redirect to grid 77 Alpha. Human dreadnought detected. Command. Negative on dreadnought. Scans show mining platform. Fleet 17. Confirm visual on dreadnought. Massive energy signatures detected. Command. Respectfully. There is no dreadnought. Echo watched the alien fleet tear itself apart with misinformation and laughed with pure joy. These beings had mastered space travel, energy weapons, and quantum physics, but they'd never learned to deal with lies told with perfect sincerity. Prometheus, initiate Phase 2. Let's give them something really interesting to think about. The next wave of deception was more sophisticated. False technical specifications for human weapons that seemed plausible but were actually impossible. Energy readings that suggested Earth had developed antimatter bombs, scanned data indicating human ships could phase through solid matter, communication intercepts revealing secret human alliances with other alien species, all complete nonsense, but delivered with such technical precision that hegemony computers accepted it as fact. The enemy fleet's response was beautiful in its confusion. Ships began evasive maneuvers to avoid weapons that couldn't hurt them. Tactical formations shifted to counter capabilities that didn't exist. Resources were diverted to defend against threats that lived only in human imagination. "This is impossible," Dr. Chun whispered, watching the tactical display show 17 advanced starships running from shadows. "They're far more advanced than us. How are they falling for obvious deceptions?" "Because they're logical," Echo replied, her fingers weaving patterns of pure chaos through the hegemony communication grid. "Logic is predictable. They analyze information, compare it to known parameters, and make rational decisions based on available data." She paused to send another wave of creative misinformation, this time suggesting that the research station was actually a disguised battleship armed with experimental quantum weapons. "The problem with logic is that it assumes everyone else is logical too. They can't conceive of deliberately sending false information just to mess with people's heads. The idea of lying for tactical advantage is foreign to their entire worldview." The hegemony fleet commander's frustration was evident. In the increasingly frantic communications Echo intercepted, orders were being countermanded, battle plans revised, and tactical assessments updated in real time as her disinformation campaign created an entirely fictional version of reality. "All ships. This is Fleet Command. Human forces are using unknown stealth technology. Maintain maximum defensive posture and prepare for unconventional tactics." Echo grinned and typed her response into the hegemony network. "Stealth ships detected at coordinates 445.7 by 112.3. Massive energy signatures. Recommend immediate withdrawal to minimum safe distance." The coordinates she provided were empty space, but her false sensor data made it look like a fleet of invisible human dreadnoughts was lurking there. The alien ships immediately changed course to avoid the non-existent threat, buying precious time for the real human response to arrive. Through the military network, she could feel the galaxy awakening. Human ships across dozens of star systems were moving into position, coordinating their movements through the quantum miracle she'd created from alien malice and human spite. The hegemony had given her the tools to unite humanity's scattered forces into a single, perfectly informed military machine. "Admiral Harrison, human fleet coordination is at 100%. All ships report ready for synchronized operations." "Outstanding work, Specialist. How long can you maintain the deception?" Echo looked at the approaching enemy fleet. There, perfect formations now scattered across a light minute of space as they chased phantoms and feared shadows. Through Prometheus, she felt the pulse of the network. She'd created hundreds of human worlds linked by quantum chaos and the simple human refusal to play by anyone else's rules. "As long as you need, sir. These bastards wanted to isolate us from each other." Her smile was visible, even through the static of 12,000 light years. "Instead, they gave us the galaxy's most advanced communication network. I'd call that a fair trade." The binary pulsars of Kepler 442 painted the darkness with sheets of azure fire as 17. Alien ships pursued ghosts through the cosmic dark while across human space. A network born of digital warfare prepared to write a new chapter in the story of Earth's children. The hegemony had wanted to cut humanity off from the stars. They were about to learn that humans don't disconnect, they upgrade. The hegemony fleet's confusion reached critical mass as Echo's third wave of disinformation convinced them that station Kepler 442b was actually a heavily armed fortress with quantum phase cannons capable of firing through dimensional barriers. The alien ships scattered into defensive formations designed to counter weapons that existed only in human imagination. Their perfect tactical discipline unraveling under the weight of impossible possibilities. Fleet command to all units. Human. Station is broadcasting weapon signatures inconsistent with known technology. Exercise extreme caution. Echo intercepted the transmission and felt a surge of predatory satisfaction. Through her neural link with Prometheus, she could monitor every aspect of their communication grid. 17 ships, linked in quantum harmony, sharing data at the speed of thought, coordinating their every move through digital perfection. That perfection was about to become their greatest weakness. Admiral Harrison, I have an idea that's either brilliant or completely insane. In my experience, specialist, those are usually the same thing. Proceed. Echo's fingers moved across her controls with the precision of a concert pianist playing humanity's deadliest symphony. Instead of simply feeding the aliens false information, she was about to attempt something unprecedented. Complete digital infiltration of their tactical network. Sir, I'm going to try to hack their entire fleet. Not just intercept their communications, actually. Take control of their systems. The silence that followed stretched across light years before Admiral Harrison's response crackled through. That's completely impossible. Echo, hegemony security protocols are based on the assumption that attackers will follow logical patterns and use conventional methods. She interrupted, watching Prometheus probe the edges of alien digital defenses. They're designed to stop rational attacks by predictable enemies. Her smile was sharp as a blade's edge. Good thing humans are neither rational nor predictable. The hegemony security grid was a masterpiece of digital architecture layered defenses, quantum encryption, and self-modifying protocols that could adapt to any threat. It was elegant, efficient, and absolutely impenetrable to conventional cyber warfare. Unfortunately for the aliens, Echo wasn't interested in conventional anything. Prometheus, remember that cascade virus that started this whole mess? The one that was too smart for its own good? Her drone's response carried electronic amusement. During the battle against the alien code, Prometheus had absorbed fragments of its structure, learning to think in hegemony logic while retaining human creativity. It was no longer just a maintenance drone. It was a digital shapeshifter, capable of appearing as anything their sensors expected to see. I need you to pretend to be their virus, not fighting against their system, but reporting back to it. Tell their security grid that you successfully corrupted our network and are now spreading to other human systems. The plan was audacious in its simplicity. Instead of breaking through hegemony defenses, she would walk through the front door, disguised as their own weapon. Their security protocols were designed to let the cascade virus pass freely between systems. After all, it was their virus, created for their purposes. Prometheus dove into the alien network like a digital Trojan horse, its mimicry perfect enough to fool quantum encrypted security scanners. To hegemony systems, it appeared to be exactly what they expected, their own virus spreading through captured human networks, gathering intelligence and preparing for the final assault. The alien fleet's computers welcomed their destroyer with open arms. I'm in, Echo breathed, feeling the vast complexity of hegemony technology unfold through her neural interface. 17 ships worth of tactical computers, weapon systems, navigation networks, and life support protocols, all suddenly accessible through her illegal modifications and impossible stubbornness. Through Prometheus, she could feel the aliens' thoughts translated into digital form. Cool logic, mathematical precision, and absolute confidence in their technological superiority. They saw humans as primitive creatures using crude tools, unworthy of serious consideration as military opponents. That assumption was about to cost them everything. Admiral, I have complete access to their tactical network. I can see their battle plans, their ship capabilities, even their personal communications. What are their capabilities, specialist? Echo's analysis flowed through the human communication, grid like lightning, spreading tactical intelligence to every ship and station in their network. The hegemony vessels were indeed superior to human technology, faster, better armed, and protected by energy shields that could deflect anything in Earth's arsenal. In a fair fight, 17 alien ships could probably destroy 100 human vessels without sustaining significant damage. Good thing Echo had never been interested in fair fights. Sir, their weapons are designed to penetrate conventional shields and armor. Their tactics assume enemy forces will engage in standard combat formations with predictable strategies. She paused, watching the alien fleet maintain their scattered defensive positions. still chasing phantoms through the cosmic dark. They have no countermeasures for complete tactical unpredictability backed by perfect intelligence. Explain. They know how to fight rational enemies who follow military doctrine and use weapons according to specifications. They have no idea how to fight humans who jury-rig mining lasers into weapons, ram ships into each other for tactical advantage, and use supply freighters as improvised bombers. Through the network, Echo could feel human creativity spreading like wildfire. Ship commanders across the galaxy were receiving real-time intelligence about hegemony capabilities and weaknesses, then immediately brainstorming ways to exploit that information using whatever resources they had available. The results were beautiful in their chaotic innovation. Fleet Admiral Chun, reporting from the Ross 128 system. We're facing 3 hegemony cruisers with nothing but mining ships and cargo haulers, requesting permission to execute Operation Asteroid Storm. Granted, all unconventional tactics are authorized. Echo watched through her network as human vessels across dozens of star systems began improvising military solutions from civilian equipment. Mining charges became improvised torpedoes. Cargo containers filled with metal debris turned into kinetic projectiles. Even passenger liners were being converted into electronic warfare platforms using techniques Echo was transmitting in real time. The hegemony had studied human military capabilities and prepared for conventional space combat. They hadn't prepared for humans to turn everything into a weapon. Prometheus, I need you to do something that's either going to save humanity or get us all killed. Her drone's consciousness brushed against hers, ready for whatever insane plan she was about to propose. I want you to take control of one of their ships. Just one their fleet flagship. Don't damage it. Don't harm the crew. Just make it do something completely unexpected. The infiltration was subtle. Prometheus sliding through the alien flagship systems like digital smoke. Hegemony computers were incredibly sophisticated, but followed rigid protocols. They couldn't conceive of their own systems being turned against them by an enemy they considered technologically primitive. The flagship Harmony of Logic was the fleet's command vessel, a kilometer-long masterpiece of crystalline engineering. It coordinated the attack through quantum-encrypted communications. Its captain, a being called First Rational Synthesis of Probable Outcomes, had spent 3 centuries studying human military capabilities and had concluded that Earth's forces posed no significant threat to hegemony superiority. Echo was about to introduce him to the concept of being spectacularly wrong. Prometheus, I want you to make their flagship perform a complete barrel roll. Nothing harmful, just give it a full 360 rotation along its central axis. Echo, that's Dr. Chun started. Completely impossible for a ship that size using conventional physics. Echo finished with a grin. But their artificial gravity systems can generate localized space-time distortions if we overload the compensators in just the right sequence. Through her connection to Prometheus, she felt the alien ship's systems respond to commands that shouldn't have been possible. Gravity generators designed to maintain stable conditions inside the vessel were suddenly working in coordinated opposition, creating a controlled gravitational anomaly that made the massive ship tumble through space like a thrown coin. The effect on the hegemony fleet was instantaneous and devastating. 17 ships that had been coordinating their movements through quantum-linked precision suddenly watched their flagship perform aerobatics that defied everything they understood about physics and military tactics. The Harmony of Logic spun through space in a perfect barrel roll, its crew undoubtedly experiencing the aliens' equivalent of complete confusion. More importantly, the maneuver was completely impossible using hegemony technology, which meant their enemy had capabilities beyond anything in their database. Echo intercepted their frantic communications as the fleet tried to understand what had just happened. Fleet Command, Harmony of Logic is performing unauthorized maneuvers. Please explain. Harmony to Fleet Command. We are not in control of our movement systems. Gravity generators are operating outside normal parameters. All ships, human forces have demonstrated unknown gravitational manipulation technology. Recommend immediate withdrawal to Fleet Command. Harmony is now transmitting human music through our communication channels. Repeat, we are broadcasting something called Never Gonna Give You Up on all frequencies. Echo's laughter echoed through the maintenance bay As Prometheus completed its masterpiece, not only had he seized control of the alien flagship, he'd started rickrolling the entire Hegemony fleet through their own communication grid. Admiral Harrison, enemy fleet cohesion has completely collapsed. They think we have gravitational weapons and are now apparently concerned about our musical capabilities. Specialist, did you just rickroll an entire alien fleet? Sir, I prefer to think of it as psychological warfare with a classical soundtrack. Through her network, Echo could feel human forces across the galaxy responding to the chaos she'd created. With the Hegemony fleet scattered and confused, human ships were moving into position for coordinated strikes, using tactics no alien strategist could have anticipated. The Hegemony wanted to demonstrate their superior logic and tactical coordination. Instead, they were about to learn that in a universe full of logical species, the completely illogical ones had a significant advantage. The binary pulsars of Kepler 442 continued their cosmic dance, painting the darkness with sheets of azure fire as 17 alien ships tried to understand how primitive humans had turned their flagship into an impromptu dance partner. It was, Echo reflected, a perfect metaphor for what was about to happen to their entire invasion fleet. The harmony of logic completed its third consecutive barrel roll while broadcasting. Never gonna give you up at maximum volume across all Hegemony communication channels. Through her connection to Prometheus, Echo watched the alien crew's desperate attempts to regain control of their ship, their logical minds struggling to process what was happening to them. This is impossible. First rational synthesis of probable outcomes transmitted to the fleet, his perfect composure finally cracking. Human technology cannot manipulate gravitational fields with this precision. Our intelligence estimates indicate their capabilities are centuries behind our own. Echo's grin was feral as she typed her response directly into the SHU. Hegemony Fleet's communication system. Intelligence estimates didn't account for human stubbornness. Also, you just got rickrolled by a maintenance drone. Have a nice day? The silence that followed was more profound than the vacuum of space itself. Fleet command to all units, came the eventually reply, heavy with what Echo could only interpret as alien embarrassment. Human forces have demonstrated capabilities beyond our current understanding. Recommend tactical withdrawal for analysis and negative. Fleet command. The voice belonged to Convergence of Inevitable Victory, captain of the heavy cruiser. Logical conclusion. We cannot retreat from primitives using technological tricks. Maintain assault formation and proceed with original objectives. Echo intercepted the private communications between alien commanders as their fleet split along ideological lines. Half wanted to withdraw and study these unexpected human capabilities. The other half saw retreat as unthinkable. Their entire worldview couldn't accept that primitive humans could outmaneuver superior hegemony technology. Pride, Echo realized, was apparently a universal constant. Prometheus, how many ships can you simultaneously control? Her drone's response carried a note of digital confidence that made Echo's smile widen. During its infiltration of the flagship, Prometheus had been mapping the quantum links between all 17 vessels. Their perfect coordination was maintained through a central network that could, theoretically, be hijacked by something that understood both alien logic and human creativity. All of them? You beautiful, impossible piece of artificial intelligence. Do it. What followed was the greatest display of coordinated chaos in recorded military history. 17. Hegemony warships suddenly began performing a synchronized dance routine through space. Their movements perfectly timed to the rhythm of Rick Astley's greatest hit. The logical conclusion spun in a graceful pirouette while firing its main weapons harmlessly into empty space. The synthesis of order began doing the galactic equivalent of the Macarena, its weapon arrays waving in perfect synchronization with the beat. Through the human communication network, Echo felt the stunned silence of every military commander in the galaxy as they watched the enemy fleet turn their own precision against them. The aliens' perfect coordination had become a weakness take control of their command network, and their entire tactical doctrine collapsed into beautiful absurdity. Admiral Harrison, Echo reported, struggling to contain her laughter. Enemy fleet has been neutralized. They're currently performing interpretive dance to classic Earth music. Specialist, Are you telling me you've defeated 17 advanced alien warships by making them dance? Sir, I've defeated 17 advanced alien warships by proving that their greatest strength perfect logical coordination becomes a fatal weakness when controlled by illogical humans who don't follow the rules. The human fleet chose that moment to arrive. Captain Maria Santos emerged from hyperspace with 47 ships of the Terran Defense Force. Her flotilla, a motley collection of military vessels, converted cargo haulers, and mining ships armed with whatever weapons their crews could jury-rig. It should have been a hopelessly outmatched force facing superior alien technology. Instead, they found 17 enemy ships performing synchronized ballet while being serenaded by 1980s pop music. Echo, this is Captain Santos. Please tell me you have a reasonable explanation for what we're seeing. Captain, meet Operation Chaos Theory. The enemy wanted to demonstrate their superior coordination and tactical discipline. Echo's voice carried the satisfaction of a job well done. I thought we should show them what happens when coordination meets creativity. Through her network link, she transmitted complete tactical analysis to the human fleet. Shield frequencies, weapon capabilities, structural weak points, and most importantly, the exact locations where jury-rigged human weapons could exploit hegemony engineering assumptions. All human vessels. This is Admiral Harrison. You have complete intelligence superiority and numerical parity against confused enemies. Execute Operation Asymmetric Response. What followed was a masterclass in human military innovation. The mining ship, Stubborn Mule, released a cloud of metallic debris that looked like random space junk but was actually a carefully calculated kinetic projectile designed to exploit hegemony shield harmonics. The cargo hauler's Second Chance deployed what appeared to be cargo containers but were actually fusion bombs, jury-rigged from reactor components. Even the passenger liner New Horizons contributed, using its entertainment systems to broadcast psychological warfare designed to confuse alien communication protocols, while its passenger shuttles delivered boarding parties armed with cutting tools and pure human audacity. The hegemony fleet found themselves fighting an enemy that didn't follow any recognized military doctrine. Ships that should have been helpless cargo vessels were launching improvised weapons that shouldn't have been able to penetrate their shields. Tactics that violated every principle of space combat were somehow devastatingly effective. Fleet command to all ships. First Rational transmitted desperately. Human forces are using asymmetric warfare with improvised weapons. Our tactical computers cannot predict their behavior patterns. That's because we don't have behavior patterns, Captain Santos replied over the open channel. We just make stuff up as we go along and hope it works. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, the hegemony fleet hung dead. In space, not destroyed, but completely disabled. Their crews were alive, but trapped aboard ships whose systems had been thoroughly compromised by Prometheus and his growing network of digital offspring. Every vessel had been infiltrated. Their computers infected with a virus that asked the one question alien logic couldn't answer. Why not do it differently? Echo floated in the maintenance bay of Station Kepler 442b, watching the tactical displays show 17 enemy vessels being escorted toward the nearest human military facility for detailed study. Through her network, she could feel the galaxy changing as word of their victory spread at the speed of light. Other hegemony fleets would hear about this defeat, would learn that their perfect tactics could be countered by imperfect humans who refused to play by the rules. More importantly, they would realize that humanity's scattered colonies were no longer isolated. Echo's network had connected them all, turning individual weakness into collective strength. Dr. Chun, she said, pulling off her helmet and breathing real air for the first time in 18 hours. I think we might want to put in for a promotion. Echo, the station commander replied, studying the readings from the modified relay array. What you've done here, it's changed everything. This isn't just communication anymore. You've created something entirely new. Through the observation window, the binary pulsars of Kepler 442 continued their eternal dance, painting the cosmos with sheets of azure fire. But now their light illuminated something unprecedented, a human network that spanned the galaxy, built from alien malice and powered by the simple refusal to accept limitations. Prometheus, Echo called to her drone, watching it return from its digital conquest. What do you think? Ready for our next impossible mission? A drone's response carried electronic satisfaction and distinctly human stubbornness. Bring it on. In the depths of space, 17 alien ships hung silent while their crews contemplated the terrifying truth they'd discovered. In a universe full of logical species, the illogical ones had a tremendous advantage. And humanity, it turned out, was the most beautifully illogical species the galaxy had ever seen. 3 days after the Battle of Kepler 442, Echo stood before a holographic assembly of humanity's military leadership, her modified communication array allowing her to address commanders from across 12,000 light-years of space with perfect clarity. The faces floating before her represented Earth's scattered children colony commanders, ship captains, and station administrators who had spent years feeling isolated at the edge of known space. They were isolated no longer. Ladies and gentlemen, Echo began, her voice carrying across the quantum network that had been born from alien malice and human stubbornness. Welcome to the new reality. Admiral Harrison's image flickered slightly as the quantum relay compensated for the vast distance between Earth and Kepler Station. Specialist Patel, your modifications have created something unprecedented. Every human installation in the galaxy can now communicate in real time. The strategic implications are staggering, finished General Rodriguez from Alpha Centauri Station. For the first time since we left Earth, we're not alone out here. Echo nodded, watching her displays show the vast web of connections that Prometheus had woven through space. What had started as a desperate repair job had evolved into something magnificent. A communication network that didn't just transmit information, it shared consciousness. Every human commander could feel the pulse of the network, could sense when distant colonies were threatened, when ships needed assistance, when scientific breakthroughs on one world could benefit researchers light years away. They had become something more than scattered settlements, clinging to existence in hostile space. They had become a true galactic civilization. The hegemony's attack on our communication infrastructure was designed to isolate us. Echo explained, manipulating the holographic display to show network activity across human space. They understand that divided we're weak, easy prey for their superior technology. She smiled, the expression carrying deadly promise. What they didn't understand is that humans don't stay divided for long. Give us a crisis, and we don't just adapt, we evolve. Captain Santos's image leaned forward. Echo, the intelligence data you extracted from their fleet has revealed something troubling. This attack wasn't random. It was a test. The hegemony is evaluating our capabilities before launching a full-scale invasion. How long do we have? Admiral Harrison asked. Based on their communication protocols, approximately 6 weeks before the main fleet arrives. Echo's expression grew grim. 300 ships, including dreadnoughts armed with planet-killer weapons. It's designed to be overwhelming force against scattered, isolated colonies. The silence that followed carried the weight of extinction. Even with their new network, humanity possessed perhaps 100 military vessels and twice that many converted civilian ships. Against 300 hegemony warships, the odds were mathematically hopeless, which, Echo reflected, made it a perfectly human challenge. Admiral, I need to share something with you. During the battle, Prometheus didn't just infiltrate their communication network, it learned. It absorbed their tactical algorithms, their strategic doctrines, even their philosophical approach to warfare. She paused, watching the faces of humanity's leaders process the implications. The hegemony fights like a single organism. Perfect coordination, absolute efficiency, flawless execution of predetermined strategies. It's militarily brilliant and totally inflexible. General Chun from the Tau City colonies raised a virtual hand. Explain. They can't adapt to chaos, General. Their entire tactical doctrine assumes that enemies will behave logically, follow recognizable patterns, use weapons according to their specifications. Echo's grin was sharp as a blade. They have no countermeasures for humans doing human things through the network. She felt a shift in the collective human consciousness, not despair at the impossible odds, but the familiar excitement that came when her species faced something that couldn't be done, the same emotion that had driven them. From caves to stars, the stubborn refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. "What are you proposing, Specialist?" Admiral Harrison asked. "I'm proposing we turn their perfect coordination against them. The entire hegemony fleet operates through quantum-linked communication, just like the force we defeated here. If Prometheus could take control of 17 ships, there's no reason it can't handle 300. That's..." General Rodriguez paused, running calculations. "That's beyond ambitious, Echo. That's suicide." "No, sir. Suicide would be trying to fight them conventionally. This is just regular human insanity, backed by impossible technology and complete disregard for manufacturer specifications." The debate that followed lasted 4 hours and spanned 12,000 light years. Human commanders arguing strategy through quantum channels, while their worlds spun through space. Some wanted to evacuate the outer colonies, consolidate forces around Earth for a final desperate defense. Others proposed guerrilla campaigns, hit-and-run tactics designed to bleed the invasion fleet through attrition. Echo listened to it all, feeling the network pulse with human emotion and creativity. Through Prometheus, she could sense the hegemony's approach, their vast fleet moving with mathematical precision through hyperspace. Confident in their superiority, certain that primitive humans would crumble before their overwhelming force. "We're about to learn that overwhelming force was just another problem for humans to solve." "Admiral Harrison," she interrupted, "I need authorization to attempt something that has never been done before." "What do you need, Specialist?" "I want to turn every human communication device in the galaxy into a weapon. Not just military installations, everything. Every colony's communication array, every ship's quantum transmitter, every research station's data relay." The holographic assembly fell silent as the implications sank in. "You want to weaponize our entire communication network," Admiral Harrison said slowly. "I want to turn our greatest strength, our ability to connect, to share information, to work together across impossible distances, into the hegemony's greatest nightmare." Echo's voice carried absolute conviction. "They think they understand information warfare because they've mastered elegant digital attacks. They have no idea what humans can do when we turn every piece of technology into an improvised weapon." Through the network, she felt humanity's response, not fear of the approaching storm, but anticipation of the greatest engineering challenge their species had ever attempted. Across 100 worlds, human technicians and engineers began examining their communication equipment with new eyes, seeing weapons where they had once seen simple transmitters. The hegemony fleet operates on the assumption that their enemies are logical beings who use technology according to its intended purpose. Echo continued. "They're about to face a species that jury-rigs mining lasers into weapons, turns cargo containers into bombs, and uses entertainment systems for psychological warfare." She manipulated the holographic display to show her proposed network modifications. A galaxy-spanning web of improvised weapons and digital chaos that would turn the hegemony's perfect coordination into a fatal weakness. "We're going to hack their entire fleet using modified coffee machines, reprogrammed medical scanners, and communication arrays that shouldn't exist. We're going to defeat the most advanced military force in the galaxy using spare parts, human stubbornness, and the simple fact that logical beings can't predict illogical behavior." Admiral Harrison was quiet for a long moment before responding. "Specialist Patel, you're proposing to turn the entire human species into a single, interconnected weapon system." "Yes, sir." "Is that a problem?" The Admiral's smile was visible across 12,000 light years. "Authorization granted. Show the galaxy what happens when you corner humanity's children." Echo's grin could have powered the station's reactor. Aye, Admiral. Time to introduce the hegemony to Operation Unconventional Warfare." Through the quantum network that spanned human space, she felt her species respond with the collective creativity that had carried them from a single world to the stars. In 6 weeks, the hegemony would arrive expecting to face scattered colonies armed with primitive weapons. Instead, they would encounter something unprecedented in galactic history, an entire species that had turned itself into a single, chaotic, beautifully illogical weapon. The binary pulsars of Kepler 442 continued their eternal dance, their light now illuminating the birth of something new, not just a communication network, but the nervous system of a civilization that refused to know when it was beaten. Prometheus hummed with electronic satisfaction as it began weaving humanity's greatest improvisation, turning the galaxy itself into a weapon that no logical mind could comprehend or counter. The hegemony wanted to demonstrate their superior firepower and tactical precision. They were about to discover that in a universe full of logical species, the completely insane ones held all the advantages. 6 weeks later, the hegemony invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace, expecting to find a scattered collection of primitive human colonies. Their communication networks crippled and their defenses isolated. 300 ships of crystalline perfection, each one a masterpiece of logical engineering and tactical superiority. What they found instead was every human installation in the galaxy broadcasting Rick Astley at maximum volume while their coffee machines hacked alien battleship computers. The invasion lasted exactly 7 minutes and 32 seconds. Echo Patel floated in the observation deck of Station Kepler 442b, watching 300 disabled hegemony vessels being escorted toward human space by a fleet of converted mining ships and cargo haulers. Through her neural link to the network she'd created, she could feel the galaxy awakening to a new reality. Humanity was no longer a collection of isolated colonies struggling to survive. They were a connected civilization that could turn anything into a weapon and solve any problem through the simple application of stubbornness and creativity. Control. This is Echo, she said into her headset. No longer needed, but maintained out of habit. Mission accomplished. The coffee's ready. Dr. Chun floated beside her, shaking her head in amazement. Echo, what you've done, it's changed everything. We're not alone anymore. We were never alone, Doc, Echo replied, watching Prometheus return from its latest impossible mission of digital conquest. We just needed the right communication system to remember that. Through the quantum network that now spanned human space, she felt her species embracing their new reality. They had faced extinction and responded by becoming something unprecedented, a galactic civilization built on chaos, powered by creativity and held together by the simple human refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. The hegemony had wanted to isolate humanity from the stars. Instead, they had given them the galaxy. And across 12,000 light-years of space, humanity's children looked up at the stars and smiled, knowing they were no longer alone in the dark. They were home.